Hello, everyone. Hope you're having a good weekend or weekday whenever you're watching this. Welcome back. We're going to start with the SPX Weekly Chart like we always do. And last week I started the video and said, do not be surprised if we're at all-time highs next week. And here we are. We saw that we could not breach the level of 294, 2940. And, I said, don't be surprised if we break out of this triangle to the upside and test the highs next week. And that's exactly what we did. So we're going to kind of take a look at the big term, take a look at some indices, and take a look at the daily action, especially from today, Friday, and see what I think of this rally. Is it going to hold, or are we going to see another rejection like the last few times we've been up here? So first of all, SPX has some room up to this upper trend line, this channel that it's in. And, with the weekly break of this triangle, I'd say the first thing is don't be surprised if we do get up to, 30.50, 30.60 up in that neighborhood before we start seeing maybe a turn in direction. So I'm going to switch over to the SPY chart here. And you'll see on SPY, we also got the weekly break here on the triangle, and we also still have some room here up to about 305 on its channel. So again, don't be surprised if we do have some follow through next week and we make our way up there. Let's move down to a daily chart. You can see the picture just the same. Broke out. We broke above my last important level on the upside. And I want to kind of talk about this week's action here. I had this balance zone here, this consolidation area, and I was looking for breaks above or below this, right? And so you can see one day we broke above, and I said, okay, let's see if we get follow through. No, we rejected the trend line the next day. I took that as a reversal day. I didn't like that we didn't get below my important level, and that's why I was cautious on this day, Wednesday here, when we actually opened above that level, which is taken from this breakdown candle high here. So when we opened above that level, I was a bit concerned, and then we actually started going up, and I thought that was actually pretty bullish. I thought if this was really a reversal candle, we would have a little better volume. You can see it was much lower than average volume. And we didn't get any follow through below the next important number. We immediately bounced and closed the day at the highs. And so from there on out, I was actually kind of looking for this break of this triangle at the end of the week. And so I was very ready for the rally we got on Friday. That was great. But you can see that the action has just been choppy, right? It's kind of almost been in a wedgish pattern. And what you want to know about that is that that's not really a super bullish pattern, right? It's not necessarily one of, all-time highs, let's hit 30-20, 30-30. It's one of indecision and one with not very one-sided direction. You can see over here as we went up, it was also quite choppy. Not very many strong rallies, such as this one off the lows, right? And so that could be indicative of, a top coming in soon. But for now, we have to take this for what it is. It's bullish. We've closed the week above the important levels. And unless we see some serious decline early next week, we'll probably head a little bit higher. So just be ready for that. We'll also go look at some other sectors. Let's look at the Qs. These have kind of been the leading sector here is tech. You can see that the Qs actually closed at a new high right here. So that's can't be taken as anything but bullish. It does have a little bit of room also, only about 250 on the upside to go, $2 or so. So not a ton of room, but we can spike through that. We can come up short. Just be ready for anything next week. But definitely has room on the upside and finish strong. Let's look at the SMH. The SMH, yeah, this finished new highs, gap up, and never looked back. I mean, this thing just went straight out of this kind of high base pattern here and didn't look back. It closed above its weekly trend line. This is a long-term trend line here. So we've closed above that with strength. And I mean, honestly, who knows where this thing's stopping now? Don't try and guess a reversal. But if we do start seeing high volume, steep decline next week, we close the week terrible back under the trend line, that could be a negative sign for the market because this has been one of the leaders. Let's go over the IWM. Small caps not looking quite as strong, never really have, but we definitely have to take notice that this is really just a bull flag pattern inside of a bearish pattern. But the thing that I've noticed as I've been trading, when there's a bullish pattern inside of a bearish pattern like this, and it stays in the bullish pattern for a very long time, this flag here, typically that will actually play out to the bullish side. That will play up, because you want to see here, when you get a bullish move and a flag, you want a rejection rather fast of the retracement levels, and you want to see that flag play out with some speed. You don't want it to be taking months and months and months like this. That's usually a sign that the market hasn't reached its destination yet. It hasn't reached its rejection level yet, and it's probably going to go higher. So I have a few key zones here on the IWM to be watching for. There's obviously this flag trend line here. There's these highs that have been tested many times over the last few months. So that's obviously a huge level. If we were to some reason find ourselves up there and possibly gap over that pivot high, I mean, that's a very positive sign for that IWM. And this pivot high, or on the breakdown candle high here, would be very crucial. If we, for any reason, find ourselves up in that neighborhood within the next few weeks, that's very bullish. And the IWM can play catch up, like I said last week. If the market decides to really just rally, there's a lot of short covering, the market's just going crazy on nothing, don't be surprised if this plays catch up and gets up to this breakdown candle high. Be ready for anything, right? We can't take the market for anything but what it is right now, and it's bullish until something changes, right? Let's go over to the transportation average here. The transportation average, this also broke its trend. It was, a pretty good leader for the last few weeks, so not surprised that it broke its trend here. And we still have this very important area here, around 11,000. And this is going to be the big test. We've come up here to this breakdown candle high. Couldn't quite get to it on this pivot, so that will obviously be a really important area if we happen to get up there. I don't expect us really to get past this red zone on the first try, but if we do, that's the next area. We have gotten a break of trend here. It's on decent volume, right? It's broken the last two pivot high closes. That's not bearish, it's bullish. So we need to be ready for this red zone to be tested next week, and even possibly this breakdown candle high, right? We've got 3 stocks in FANG. We've got Facebook, Apple, and Google all reporting earnings next week. We've got the FOMC meeting. There's plenty of things next week, plenty of events that can easily rally this market much higher. And on the other hand, it can also turn around on a dime just like that. There's a lot of big events next week, and we should be ready for a lot of movement, a lot of volatility. It should be fun for anyone that's trading. So let's move on to the XLF here. Financials, they haven't looked quite as strong as some other indices here. The financials are at these recent pivot highs. They couldn't close above this one. That would have been a bit more bullish, especially this one here. That would have been very bullish if it closed above that one. So it's still in a decision area. But what do we have here? We essentially have a bull flag, right? We pull back very long wicks on these weeks. It's not bearish, right? And we're testing these highs once again. So do we push through them? Do we reject? We will find out. So that's kind of the indices. I'd definitely be looking for some upside. Into some heavy resistance pretty soon, though. So I'm going to go over some of my top picks this week. First one is going to be Tesla. I'm sure all of you have seen this. Excuse the chart. It's a little bit messy, but obviously Tesla had earnings, shot up 20% or whatever. And if we go down to a daily, you could see it took one day to kind of settle, and then boom, short covering, panic buying. I mean, just look at that. I mean, it just blew through every weekly resistance area I had drawn. And so, the next area here is actually like the 340, 343, this area. And so we've closed the week inside of this gap window here. And so, I'm bullish on Tesla right now, definitely. I'm looking for maybe a possible retracement. I could see a retracement to, maybe this zone here, 317. Maybe not even that far, if shorts keep on covering and people keep panic buying, this thing can get up to 343, 350 very, very quickly next week. I wouldn't be surprised. It's Tesla, right? Tesla is known for its massive moves, being volatile during times. So don't be surprised. This is definitely on my watch list. I'm looking for higher prices. Next is going to be Facebook. So Facebook was on my list last week, and and I said I was looking for some downside off of this breakdown candle high, and we did get some. I played that. That was pretty nice. I can show you here. On this day here, we did get a nice little drop on some news. So that was kind of our rejection, and we got bought back up pretty quickly. So can't be seen as anything but bullish. It rejected, and it ended the week pretty close to the breakdown candle high. So right now it's not really continuing down. And with earnings this week, I would definitely want to be watching Facebook before earnings and after earnings to see if it can get above this breakdown candle high and hold, if it can start closing daily above that. Right? Look at how many touches that we've had on this level. Look at how strong that's been. If we do get a break to the upside because of earnings or because of the run-up before earnings, look for Facebook to come and test this area here, this pivot high, this breakdown candle high. And on the other hand, if we can't break this again and we start rejecting, this thing can go down very fast with earnings. We can get down in this zone here. So be watching both sides on Facebook, especially at this critical level of 190. And lastly, Microsoft, we can see shot up here Friday after hours and is actually sitting at all-time highs at 145, right? And you can see for how many months this thing has just been consolidating, just waiting. It looked very bullish to me, especially on a daily chart. You can see it was kind of an ascending pattern for a long time, and now this thing is finally broken. So this is on my watch list next week. Either side, if the market decides to keep going and we get some very strong, fast rallies, look for Microsoft to keep making all-time highs. Be watching its volume, level 2, that kind of stuff to see what kind of sentiment there is on Microsoft early next week. And yeah, either way, definitely look to play Microsoft. There should be a lot of volume. So those are my 3 top picks for next week. And that's my analysis on the market for next week. If you guys have any questions, anything at all, please leave them in the comments. And thank you guys so much for watching. Please drop a sub if this helped you at all, and go ahead and share it with Discord server, your friends, whoever you think that this could be useful for. All right. So guys, have a good weekend, and I'll see you all in the next one.